tell people that you are a Republican and you are a Trump surrogate, you tell black people that, honestly, what's the reaction you get?
I get mixed reviews.
Okay, tell us about those mixed reviews.
Well, my name is Shirley Husar. I am a native born and raised in Los Angeles, California. I love my state. I love my community. And I understand the importance of fiscal responsibility. Understanding that we have to grow as a community, and we're not growing.
I like her.
What we're finding is in the black community, there's a dominance of another culture, and that the elderly black people are being taken advantage of. The middle-aged black people are being taken advantage of, and that's because of policies that have been instilled from a local level. From a federal level, the federal level makes federal decisions. But it's the local things, especially within the black community. I've been a Republican all my life. I was a surrogate under Arnold Schwarzenegger. I served on the Geology Geophysicists Board. I was a delegate for 10 years for the California Republican Party. And I was actually a surrogate I was a delegate for Bush W. And I was a delegate for Donald J. Trump as well as a surrogate. I'm the one that made the announcement announcing for 38 million people representing the state of California. And I love California, and I love my people.
All right.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, please.
Okay, speak yourself. You see how, just say she wasn't even a Trump supporter.
Okay.
We didn't know she was a Trump supporter. Everything she said, I can identify with.
Yeah.
She was like, I want to build my community. I want to do this. Capitalism. See, I like that. What you were saying, it just wasn't, it felt connish. You know what I'm saying?
Connish?
Yeah, it felt like, because I believe all like politicians are con artists.
Okay.
And so I feel like they're con artists. So, but what she was saying was straight to the point. This is what I like. This is what we're trying to do for the black community. And most Democrats, they don't do that, man.
Oh, wow.
They don't do that.
You want to answer that, Anton?
Let me try to digest all of it. So you feel the labor points don't really get right to the heart of an issue. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I just think they stand on black people's shoulders just to get tall.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's what I feel.
Okay. And you think that the Republican Party, or based on what
Husar?
Shirley Husar.
Ms. Husar had said, is you feel like the Republican Party is more in line with building community?
Yeah, helping the community, like what she just said.
Okay.
Whatever she just said, I like what she said. I'm just going off what she just said.
Right, got you.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
I got you. Can we, let's try to analyze a little bit of what it is that she just said. Not her particularly.
Did you hear her?
I heard everything. Not her particularly, but again, the party that she aligns herself with, right? So if you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he became governor by supplanting a gentleman who was in office at the time, who happened to be a Democratic governor, who was actually building education. Here's how Arnold Schwarzenegger actually got his election into the state governorship. He started a program known as Arnold's All-Stars. He took his way through a very duplicitous kind of route, right? He knows that most folks will get involved with you and support you if you support their children, if you support what is important to them. And there's nothing more important to any parent than their child. And so he said, oh, the education system is so messed up, and there aren't enough after-school programs, right? And so he started an after-school program through LAUSD in the Beyond the Bill program known as Arnold's All-Stars, and I actually used to work for the program. That's how I know. He took that and he parlayed that into saying, oh, if I was governor, I would do so many things for education. I would do this and I would do that for education. And so he got, can't remember his name, he got him impeached, essentially, right? And he became governor. And the very first thing he did when it came time to put the budget together the very next year was he slashed education tremendously. So people, sort of like what we were talking about earlier, people come around and they say a lot of things, and they say these things that sound amazing.
Yes.
And I'm all for anybody, Republican or Democrat, who is about building community, who is about fiscal responsibility, because I ball on a budget. So I'm fiscally responsible. I understand that idea. And I'm absolutely about my community. I'm a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. We are absolutely a service organization above anything else. So I believe in all of those things. But again, it's so much more to it than just the rhetoric.
And it's more to it than just the finances, the economics. See, what happened is when she came out of her mouth talking about the economics, that's what got Donny's attention.
I love
Because Donny's about the money. You know, if I've known anything about you, it's about the money. All of a sudden, you got your ears got bigger.
That's right.
Your tunnel vision.
Oh, yes.
But you know what? You can't overlook other things that kind of distract away from what they're doing for you financially. Sometimes I look at that, and I'll be honest with you, I feel like sometimes we sell out. I think sometimes we sell out because, like, okay, what's gonna make me rich? Oh, yeah, you calling white people that hate black people and Jews, you know, good people. You're gonna lock kids up in cages. You're gonna do all these other things that might help me financially because I'm in a certain tax bracket. But what about the younger people, some of the people that you grew up with that aren't as fortunate as you are, and they're not doing a lot for them?
That would be my first question for anybody who says, "Oh, well, I'm a Republican because of fiscal conservacy." Okay.
I'm right here. You don't have to look at them. What question you got?
Oh no, I don't have a question. If I,
Okay.
I'll get.
So let me address you.
Sure.
The Democrat Party is the worst party on this planet for the
Okay.
African American community.
Okay.
When we think of Chicago, when we think of Detroit, we think about Atlanta and Los Angeles and the gun violence that are growing rapidly and that has been in place for the last 30 to 40 years.
those are
That is, let me
Democratic.
finish, I didn't cut you off. That was not under Republicans. That was under Democrats. The Democrat communities that have been in black communities have been divisive, had not built this community. Now, I don't know where you're from.
I'm from Windsor Hills.
So I'm from Los Angeles, California.
I'm from Windsor
I'm
Hills.
from Los Angeles, California.
That's in Los Angeles.
South Crenshaw.
Yeah.
I grew up at Crenshaw Christian Center. That was my pastor.
I'm a graduate of Crenshaw High School.
Okay, good for you. Okay, so we got commonalities.
And I'm a graduate of Dorsey High School. We rivals.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh, no, it's not
But when we
unfortunate.
think about this community, black people, and what has happened here locally, it's tragic. The homeless rate is off the chain. We don't talk about that. Hepatitis A, typhus, MRSA. All this is all under Democrats. The Democrats in this state are the dominant party, period. When you get up here and you continue to say African Americans are supposed to protect parties, I don't protect parties, I protect interests. You are failing. Your party is a failure. It has done nothing in California to help black people grow. We talk about people criticize Make America Great Again. America's not great in California like it used to be. I grew up in a time when black people owned their own business. My parents owned their own daycare center in Los Angeles for 40 years. It was called Tiny Town College on 39th and Vermont, right across from SC. Okay, I graduated from USC Financial Real Estate Development. I'm an infill developer, so I go from state to state. I'm focusing on Texas because California is off the chain. The taxes are off the chain. The gas to get here, the fires that go around, that affects my people. My people. But you up here protecting, you up here, let me finish, I didn't cut you off. You sat up here talking about we got to vote Democrats and forget the Democrats, forget the party. Talk about the issues. Talk about the police brutalities. Look at what's going on in Los Angeles. Black people are down to 6%. We have 6% African Americans in this state. And it has always been the Dixiecrats that have been divisive. Let me answer a question that you couldn't answer that I can. We go back to the Dixiecrats. Lincoln was killed. When Lincoln died, you know who took over? Andrew Johnson. Andrew Johnson was a Dixiecrat. It was not what Lincoln wanted, it was what the Dixiecrat wanted to do. And once he got into office, before he died, he worked with General Sherman. General Sherman, when we talk about reparations, you ain't talking about no reparations. You didn't set up here and promote the Democrat Party. Reparations started with the Republican Party. And the Republican Party with the Carter was, it was called Special Order Number 15.
Is that the old Republican Party or the current Republican
I'm talking about the party as a general.
Are you saying Andrew Johnson did good for this country?
Horrible.
Okay, all right.
Andrew Johnson was the worst, one of the worst presidents,
all right.
next to Lyndon B. Johnson,
Okay.
who also was a Democrat.
Okay.
I look at Andrew Johnson as a Democrat. Okay.
worse than
Andrew Johnson was he a Democrat or Republican?
Andrew Johnson, I would look at as a
No, was he a
Democrat.
Democrat or Republican?
Well, you know, back then he was a Democrat because back then they had a vice president Democrat and they had a president Republican. And
Lincoln was a Republican.
Right. So because after the Confederate War, they wanted to make it so that look, let's bring both of these issues together, the South and the North, and different policies.
Was he working for
But the point I want to finish before we go into, you want to go into next, and I want to bring it to what we're talking about, reparations. Because right now, African Americans, descendants of slaves, are not being recognized. There's a movement called ADOS across the country that want to address the issues that pertain to the descendants of slaves. What President Obama did was tragic. He took the word he took the word Negro off of people's birth certificates and any federal paperwork that's out there from now on in 2016. So in 2016, he voted to take the word Negro out because they said it was Negro is offensive. But because of that, it has convoluted who we are as an entity of people. He is truly African American. His father's African, his mother's white. I'm not. I'm a descendant of slaves. I can trace my ancestors back to 1810.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
1810.
Yes, I want to let him address that too, because I
So
understand you.
we're not talking about money. We're not talking about
But
responsibility.
I
We're reverting back so much to
I want him
history.
to be able
Let
to answer.
history work in our best
I get
interest
it,
right
I
now.
get it, but I want him to be able to answer what you had to say too, so we can keep this balance.
Help me out, Shirley. Negro is a color, right? In Spanish, negro.
No, it's on my birth certificate.
But negro is
Negro is a color.
Right. It's not a
No,
nationality.
we say Negro.
Negro. Either way,
Okay.
however you want to pronounce the E is fine.
First of all, I was brought here as hostage. You know that. Maybe you don't.
You
Let me
were.
educate you. My people, meaning the
You were.
descendants of slaves.
Okay.
Okay. We didn't. I'm not an immigrant. Are you an immigrant?
No. Technically, I'm technically considered an American by birth because I was born in the country.
Okay, but as far as your lineage, where's your lineage?
If you trace it back, back far enough, I'm sure you'll find.
No, I'm not tracing it. Do you know your own lineage?
I don't mean you particular. I just mean you and like the colonial.
No, I know my lineage. Do you know yours?
Okay, so let me try this again. When I use I'm gonna do this English thing.
Okay.
Right? So when I use the word you, it's the only second person pronoun, but it can be both individual and holistic. So when I use the word you, I don't mean you specifically.
Okay.
I mean you in the general sense of the connotation of the word. If someone you were to go back and trace my lineage back far enough, sure, you would find at some point there was a descendant of mine who was brought into this country against their will. Someone who had to experience.
You're making an assumption. You don't know. You don't know you might be an immigrant. Are you Caribbean? Are you from Belize?
Well, I think even people from the Caribbean was brought here against their will too.
I know,
They stopped off in the
but
Caribbean.
everyone is different. So I'm saying is, first of all, everyone should know who they are.
Right.
I can't
I
make
know who I
assumption.
am.
I'm not trying to.
Everybody hasn't done 23andMe. We understand that,
Right.
but maybe
So,
we should. I
but
get that.
You don't have to do 23andMe.
I know, but maybe you should just go back. But that's the point.
You can do the National Archives.
Right,
Do
we're
that
black.
Right.
We know we're black. Whether you want to call us Negroes, African
But there's
Americans, whatever.
benefits when we
absolutely
talk
a
about the
descendant of
Freeman
slaves.
Bureau Bank.
Not a lot of us
So I'm
are
going to go
descendants
back to
of
Lincoln. We talked about the Freeman Bureau Bank because after the Reconstruction, yes, Freeman Bureau. I'm not trying to be an enemy of yours. I want you to talk about the fact that I want to see black people get benefits from it. And if they were not, and we didn't get
let's stick
back
to the facts and just see how we're going to move black people forward.
Yeah, how we
Right.
gonna do that?
How we gonna do that?
Because you're talking about the Republicans and what the Democrats didn't do for the state
Absolutely.
of California. When Schwarzenegger was in office, when the Republicans, well, I understand you got to have that Senate in the House and everything, passing the bills, whatever. What did the Republicans do for the state of California?
Schwarzenegger was not a Republican. He was a Democrat. He
Well,
slept
was
with a
he in
Democrat.
the Republican Party or the Democratic Party?
He just
Did
held
run-
the title.
did he run
He
as-
did he ran as a Republican,
Okay,
but
so technically Trump wasn't a Republican until he won the
you cannot compare President Trump to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
right now.
No, I understand, but I'm
That's
saying
like-
we're talking about the party, and that's what people recognize.
Okay, so let me tell you about the party because I've been
Okay.
part of it all
What
my
did the
life. I've been a
Schwarzenegger
Republican
do?
all my life,
Okay.
and I want to talk about the Republican who I am and where we are in
But
2019.
you said what the Democrats did not do. I
Right.
want you to tell me what the Republicans did do.
What the Republicans did do is
Yes, in the state of
have
California.
in the state of California.
Yes.
Right now, everything they've done has been pushed down and pushed out.
Why?
Because of the Democrat Party. We don't run this state. This state's not ran by Republicans. Nothing.
What
What's
did
the-
they? Give me something that they
Nothing.
wanted to pass that the Democrats shot down.
Then we wanted to pass many things. We wanted to pass where you have schools, not so much the privatized schools, but private schools, and that was pushed down.
Vouchers.
The voucher system was pushed down,
You
and
know
that
why
was
the
created.
voucher
And
system
that was
was pushed
created
down?
by the Libertarians and by the Republicans. That was pushed down.
You know why the voucher system was pushed
But let
down?
me continue on. I'm not going to talk about past issues.
But you hold on. See this.
I wanna talk about the now.
I want to let you finish. I
Yeah.
want to let you finish.
I'm
But
trying
if
to,
we're-
but you guys keep
but
cutting
if
me off,
we're
but it's
going
okay.
to criticize his party, because I'm an independent,
Mm-hmm.
you have to tell me what you have done. So if you're saying he didn't or the Democrats didn't do anything for the state of California, tell me what the Republicans, when they had an opportunity to do something, what did they do?
Can you speak to the voucher system that you brought up so eloquently? Why exactly was that trounced?
A lot of things are trounced here because Republicans have no power.
Why don't they have no power?
They have no power because people don't vote Republican, they vote Democrat. And the Democrats do a vilified mode. They always say, well, it's the Republicans, it's the Republicans. And I would say, well, that's funny because the senators and the legislators and the school board and the water board and every other board that you know is ran by Democrats in California.
Right. Okay. All right. So I understand both of us are independents up here. I usually vote Democrat. I will admit that he's a Democrat. Most of us, I would say in the audience, I don't know, you don't have to answer the question if you want to. Republican or Democrat? Are you a Democrat? Any Democrats? Most of you guys Democrats, pretty much? Independents? Tell the Democrats out there, or the independents, because I think our votes probably matter most, to be quite honest with you, because you got to get us on your side in order to sway the majority or whatever. Tell us why we should be part of the Republican Party as black people.
When you're an African American,
outside of economics.
Okay. As African Americans in this country for the last 30 to 40 years, we have abused each other. We're killing each other. Someone's providing bullets and guns in the East Coast and the West Coast. These are issues that are tragic in our community. We don't communicate. Black people aren't going to church anymore. And in California, we're down to 6% African American people. We have homeless crises that are unbelievable. Open squatting. All these things were never created by Republicans. They were created under the regime and the dictatorship of Democrats here locally that continue to throw the card. Well, it's the Republicans. Republicans don't do nothing here because they don't have the power. When it comes down to politics, it's about money, numbers, and power. And unless we understand who the power person is, that is the one that is controlling the show. Not the president, it's the local legislators. They have failed us.
So, what are they doing for education?
What they're doing for education right now, there's many things that, when we talk about Republican or Democrat, there's many things that they're doing for education right now. We're talking about the money that President Trump allotted towards HBCUs.
I knew
that was the biggest thing that was contributed, which is wonderful.
I knew that was coming.
Oh, you got a problem with that?
Go ahead. Let him address that, Antonio. Go ahead.
But even with him granting more money where Obama didn't do that. What did Obama do for the black community? That's my question.
I want to hear what he has to say about the
Go ahead.
education.
Well, if you listen to, and I don't want to make, I don't know how to say this other than to say it this way. If you listen to Trump supporters, Trump surrogates, over the last 4 to 5 months or so, they tend to get their talking points from the same place, right? They're going to talk about opportunity zones. They're going to talk about the money that he gave to HBCUs without actually addressing the part of the problem with that is that most of these HBCUs exist in Republican states where there are Republican governors who serve, and most of these black colleges, unfortunately, are not privatized institutions. They are public institutions. And so they are requiring greater federal levels of assistance because they are being cut off at the proverbial knees in their own state, right? In the last 10 years, there have been more HBCUs to shutter their doors than at any other point in time in our history, right? There are a lot of issues that go into that. But yes, President Trump gave a great deal, but that was strictly because in their own states, where they are part of these state legislative boards, they are being denounced and cut off in terms of federal dollars from the state.
Before President Trump was in office, many HBCUs were at a point they were permanently going to have to close their doors.
This was before President Obama was in office.
And what did Obama do? Absolutely nothing for black people.
What did Bush do?
Absolutely, probably less than that.
Okay. All right.
Let me finish my thought.
Okay.
But that's
I
got a phone. I got to take a phone call. I have to take a phone call. We'll get back to your thoughts. I'll get a phone call. We got a phone call. Caller, what do you have to say?
Yes, hello. My name is Damien, and I would like to ask what you think about the current state of homelessness in the United States.
Okay.
I can address that.
Okay.
We're currently in Los Angeles at 6% African Americans. are homeless. Homeless is a crisis. California, I think, is probably #1. We have open squatting going on. We have issues that are just unbelievable. It's all because of the Democrats here locally. They have failed this state. The Democrats have allowed open squatting. The Democrats have allowed elderly people to be abused in this state. And he said, Trump supporters. I was a Republican before Donald Trump was president, so let me make this clear to you. I'm not following any talking points because the last time I looked, none of the Republicans that I know are always in support of reparations. And I got up here and I said it before you did about money that should be allotted to a nation and a lineage of people. So, again, lineage importance is important, education is,
As far as reparations go, though, and that wasn't my question. My question was, what do you think about the state of homelessness in the United States as a whole? And that's not a Democratic or Republican question. And one thing that struck me out is when I called in, that you're going to be talking to Shirley, the black Republican, which I don't know what difference a black or a white or Hispanic or whatever
I can answer that.
the party you have has to do with it. So I questioned the show from the beginning, just in that introduction. But my question was, what do you think of homelessness? And I don't want to hear what Trump or Obama did with homelessness. I want to understand what your position is on it as a Republican or a Democrat or just as American.
I'm going to say something short, and I'm going to pass the baton.
Thank you for the call first.
Thank you so much, caller. I appreciate you. What you're saying is so true. What is the issue? How do we address it? Local, state, and federal. You have to have legislation. A state level right now, the capacity of where homeless is at in California, we need to do something statewide. There's supposed to be allocated money. That money never gets to them. In my mind, from my perspective, we need the federal government's intervention because I believe the Democrats that are running the state of California are pocketing this money, the money that's supposed to go to homelessness. That was Eric Garcetti and Gavin Newsom, all these crooks, I call them crooks. They are not helping our community. The police are getting infestated with fleas, flesh-eating fleas. The rats are bigger than cats. This is an issue, but you need legislation and protection to come here. Ben Carson was here recently. He went down. He visited some of the missions. I have personally been out on the streets. I don't know what this brother does. I'm with an organization called Urban Game Changers. We go into urban communities and we hold elected officials accountable as well as ourselves. What do we need to do? We need to have the conversations that we're having here. We need pieces of legislations and we need money accountability to be put out there because yes, there have been money and statements that was created by Democrats to help these people, but we don't see that allocated, obviously, because when we walk down the street, it's not getting better.
The first thing we need to do to address homelessness, particularly in the state of California, is we need to deal with our housing issue. All right, we need to concentrate and focus in on affordable housing. We need to concentrate and focus in on affordable senior housing. And then after that, we need to focus in on medical care, right? Mental health issues. We have to address the fact that a lot of our people who are homeless are suffering from mental health issues. Right? You can't just blow this over as a Republican issue or as a Democratic issue. It's a civil rights issue. It's a human rights issue. Right? So we've got to address these people as humans and recognize that they have needs beyond just shelter. Right? Some of these people are veterans who have come back who are not receiving proper care. Right, so you've got to address those issues. You've got to focus on California needs to grow its jobs. Right, we need to address that issue. It's not about the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. It's genuinely about treating people as people, recognizing everybody has an issue, and then figuring out a way to mitigate those particular issues. And it does need to happen on both the local, the state, and and eventually the federal level. But this is always sort of the thing, and you need to home takes care of home. Right, and so we need to look at ourselves and say, okay, listen, what can I do? Right, we need to talk about opportunities to create greater ADU opportunities for folks. So that basically means if I have a house, but I've got a great enough backyard or front yard space, I can put a shelter in either my front yard or my backyard so somebody can stay in and keep that as an affordable thing. We need to deal with rent control in the state of California as a state, not just local municipalities, right, where some people have it, some people don't. We need to close the loopholes in rent control, right? So that you can't say, oh, I'm going to reapportion my house or my condo or my apartment so that I can move these people out who have been in my apartment or been in my tenant or been my tenant for 20 years, right? Because right now, that's how it exists. You've been in this apartment building for 25 years. I'm going to come in and say, hey, listen, I'm going to tear this thing to the ground, rebuild it, and it's going to be no longer an apartment. It's going to be a studio. Well, according to rent control, because it's a new bill, it doesn't necessarily have to be put back in under rent control. And just because I tore it down while you were living in it, doesn't mean I have to give you first access.
Let me say this.
I actually got to take a break. I'm sorry, I got to take a break. Good job out of these guys. We'll have much more from Shirley and Anton right here on the Mike and Donny show. Very important discussions. We're going to talk mostly about Donald Trump coming up next, and is Donald Trump catering to black folks? Hey, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I just wanted to say, I see your comments out there. Thank you, Wolf Brother, Republican Replies. Thank you, Doug, for monitoring. It really means a lot to me. I'm going to keep the cameras on because my, there we go. This is a network called Fox Soul. You guys can watch the rest of it right now live online. So go to online, go to Foxsoultv and see the second half. And I'll see if I come back on over after the show. We can talk again some more. I talked again last night about this show. I talked about emotional black people. This is in a loop. So if you missed this show and you see this video, go to Foxsoultv. Excuse me. I come right after the man with the blue suit, which is Jay from J Spot, who used to be with Steve Harvey's show. So if you see that loop and you see him on, then realize my segment is right after that one, and they talk to that gentleman first, and then they bring me on. So, I don't know. People pivot from the agenda. They don't want to know who they are and what they are as a people. But please go there. Let's talk soon. I'm going to head over to Facebook. But please make sure that you go to Foxsoul.tv right now and chime in to the second half of this video. I want to thank you guys for your love, for your support. Everything that you're saying is right on point. He didn't talk about reparations. He kept reverting back to Lincoln. Everything that you're saying. Stop attempting to explain politics. I don't know why we keep talking about Republican, Democrat. Why can't we talk about issues to help the black community and black people? Instead, we're going to sit there and spend a whole hour beating each other over what they did wrong and what we did wrong and what they could do better. It takes legislation. And at this point in California, I'm sorry, the truth of the matter is this. We need the federal government's intervention because the local legislators are getting all this money from nonprofits and from the feds and from the state. This doesn't get to black people. This doesn't help the community and getting these people off the street. There's no profit in the cure, and they don't want to cure it. That's just a matter of fact. Thank you, Ken, Big Dad, and thank you guys so much for your love. And make sure that you go right now. Go over to Foxsoultv. As you can see, I have it right here, Foxsoultv. And as you go to Foxsoultv, you're able to, my thing is large. You'll be able to see this directly. So leave me as I chime out, and I'll be chiming back on Facebook. Thank you so much, Doug. Go to that link right now. See that link right now that Doug put in? I want you to go to Foxsoultv. If you watch this and you're not live, and I'm not live, wait for me to come after Jay from the J Spot, which has his blue suit on because it's in a loop right now with Dish Nation and everything else. And then you'll see my segment. Make sure you tweet out Foxsoultv, at Foxsoul on Twitter and hashtags Foxsoultv and say thank you for having Shirley Husar on. It really means a lot if you guys support and believe in me. Foxsoul.tv and just say, hey, thank you for having Shirley Husar on. If each one of you guys did that, and we got about even just 10 tweets, I know that's not a lot, but it will mean a lot to me and it will be a lot to our community so I can start pivoting this more into a conversation that's very clearly focused about our people and our issue. Thank you so much. I love you guys. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.